Hey everyone, thanks for watching. Today I'm going to show you how I clean up and sharpen this old Disston handsaw and get it ready for use in my shop. I know there's a lot of different methods on how to restore old tools, and this is just the way that works well for me, so I hope you guys like the video and let's get started. The saw at the top of the screen is an old Bishop thumbhole saw that I've been using for just about everything that I've had to rip in rough stock. So when I was at a yard sale and I came across a similar Disston D8 with a lot more saw plate, a better handle, and 6 points per inch, I had to grab it. I knew right away the goal for this saw was just to get it cleaned up, sharpened, and put to use in my shop. It has so much mojo and character with the owner's name stamped into the handle in a couple different places and the patent marks on the handle. It's just too cool of a saw to try to clean up and make it all pristine and new looking. I started by removing the cap screws that hold the saw handle to the plate. These are flathead screws and the slots are too thin for a normal screwdriver to fit in, so I took an old screwdriver and ground down the tip to make it fit. The screws are made of brass and can strip out easy, so I needed a good tight fit between the screwdriver and the slots. The cap screws were stuck in the handle pretty tight, so I ended up having to thread the slots back on just a couple of threads so I could use my thumbs to push down and break them free, and in some cases had to get the back of the screwdriver and tap the slots to break everything loose. Once I got the screws to start moving from the opposite side, I still had to use my screwdriver to pry out the cap part of the screw and the medallion from the saw handle. And once the cap screws were out, I was able to start working the handle back and forth to get it to slide out of the saw plate. To remove the bulk of the rust from the saw plate, I used distilled vinegar and water. It's the least aggressive but still effective way of getting the rust off the plate. I just found a Rubbermaid box top, something that I could lay the plate flat in, mix the vinegar and water, put the plate in it, and let it soak for a couple hours. And while I was letting the plate soak in the vinegar, I can turn my attention to the saw handle. I kept this real simple. All I did was use some steel wool and some mineral spirits, soaked everything down, and started to scrub away all the paint marks and loose varnish and stuff, all the grime that was on it. And once I was happy with how everything looked, I wiped the handle down and set it off to the side to let it dry. Next I needed to clean up the medallion and the cap screws that hold the saw handle on, and for this I just used a wire brush, some steel wool, and some more mineral spirits. The goal wasn't to make it look all pristine and shiny. I wanted to make the saw look like it was still from the 1880s, so I just kind of gave everything a once over and rubbed it down with some of that steel wool and mineral spirits, and I think I was able to keep the patina on the parts and make it look really good. And once I finished cleaning up all the brass hardware, the handle was dry enough to start applying some finish. For the finish on this, I'm just using some boiled linseed oil, putting it on a rag, and wiping on a couple of coats. This darkened up the wood, evened everything out, and made the handle look great. I can still see all the user marks on it, and the patent numbers and all that stuff, and I'm really happy with how the handle darkened up and turned out. By this point it had been a couple hours since the saw plate had been soaking in the vinegar bath, so I'll use a wire brush and clean most of the rust off in the bath. Once I've gotten most of the rust off the saw plate with the wire brush, I'll take it over to the garden hose and rinse the whole thing down. Then I can wipe off all the excess water and soak the whole plate down in some WD-40. With everything still coated in the WD-40, I'll use a green Scotch-Brite pad and try to clean up the rest of the rust I couldn't get before. I'll scrub down both sides of the saw plate, putting some elbow grease in it, and normally that's enough to take care of all the pitting and rust that you'll run into on an old saw. Once I've wiped everything down, I'll go back and touch up all the rust spots that I may have missed with the sanding blocks from Sandflex. These things are pretty amazing, and I use them all the time to clean up rust off of my hand planes and hand saws and even my power tools. They work really well and they don't leave a lot of scratch marks when you're done. They come in 3 different grits, although most of the time I just have to use the green medium grit one. I'll leave a link in the description below in case you want to check them out. And once I got the saw plate all cleaned up, I'm ready to start sharpening the teeth. Now let me start by saying that I'm not the world's best saw sharpener, but I have done a few saws and I can get some decent results. So I'll do my best to explain what I'm doing here. I'll start by clamping my saw plate between the saw vices, and I'll try to clamp it to where the vise is right up next to the saw teeth, and this will reduce any kind of chatter and help the file go through the saw plate easier. I'm using a triangular saw file, and I've learned over the years that the charts that come with these files are normally wrong. So to pick the right size, I just try to find a file that's face is just over twice as wide as the saw tooth is long. And this will allow me to use two sides of one face of the file and not have any overlap to where I wear out the file in the middle, and not leave too big of a gap to where I don't use the middle of the file. It's just a way to use the file a little bit more efficiently. The other thing that was important when sharpening the saw was to make sure that the rake angle of the teeth stayed at 0, so that that meant the face of the file needed to stay vertical, and this just ensures that I get a good rip cut with the saw. Since the teeth on this saw were in pretty good shape to begin with, I can basically just set the file down into the gullet of the teeth. And if it's laying in there right and I have the right shape or size file, I will lay the file on the back of one tooth and on the front of the other. I'll make sure that the file sits 90 degrees to the saw plate, and then just give it a push through there and make a pass, and look to see if the face has got a clean edge on the back of one saw tooth and the front of another. And as long as it does, I can move to the next tooth. And the most important thing to remember is if it takes 2 passes to get one tooth cleaned up, then you want to take 2 passes on all the saw teeth. You want to make sure that you're taking the same amount off of each tooth so you don't get an uneven tooth pattern. And there are a couple other little things to remember, and the rules change quite a bit if you're sharpening a crosscut saw, but this was just a down and dirty version of how I touched up this saw. If you'd like to see a better video, more content on how to sharpen hand saws, crosscut, and rip, let me know in the comments below. Once I got the teeth all sharpened, I was ready to get the saw put back together. To start the reassembly, I slid the saw handle back over the saw plate and loosely installed the medallion and the cap screws. After making sure all the screws were started by hand, I tightened everything down with my screwdriver, making sure not to over torque. These cap screws are made of brass and they're not that strong, and they can snap pretty easily. And after I got the handle all installed, I gave the whole saw a couple of coats of Johnson's paste wax. I did this just to keep the saw plate from rusting out so easy in the future, and it makes everything just look a little better. The next and last thing to do is to make sure the saw is working properly. I started by applying some paraffin wax to the saw plate, grabbed a couple pieces of poplar, and started making some cuts. The saw worked really well and cut good and straight. I cut a couple of pieces on the saw bench, angling down, and then I stuck the boards in my vise and used the thumb hole feature to try to make some faster rip cuts. That is a pretty nice feature. Although I'm left-handed, I don't use the hole all that much. I normally just rest my thumb up above the hole. There's a pretty big notch there compared to other style of saws. But either way, having a nice big handle that I can use 2 hands on to make a rip cut does make the process go a little faster and gives me a little more control. And now I know the saw cuts well, I think I'm done with this project. I really loved how the saw turned out. I love all the character that it has, and it looks like it came from the 1880s, but it still functions well. I hope you guys liked the video, and if you did, consider giving me a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel. Thanks guys.